I have a great panel here and a wonderful topic, especially after Ace's presentation, because what Ace spoke about is very close to my heart. Being an ex-Yahoo, it's a repetition of what I have spoken in the market long enough, and I'm happy to do it again. But not just with the deterministic data that Ace spoke about. We'll talk about overall what is advertisers, brands, platforms, and ad agencies doing with respect to managing advertiser first-party data, using it intelligently to do smart programmatic campaigns. So we'll talk about that. And we'll start off with, a very basic understanding today what's happening across the globe and in India with respect to data. I think we all know that the entire shift is happening from the fact that, like we mentioned or Ace mentioned, we've been speaking or hearing about cookieless, cookie deprecation. These are terms that have been, present in the industry for the last 4 years. And it was very important for all of us to shift gears from using the cookie data to, an environment where we can use users' first-party data intelligently and bucket them into audiences, which helps in personalization, which helps in making it more smart targeting. And this also comes from the fact that there are certain guidelines or regulations that came across the globe. We are aware of GDPR guidelines that came in Europe, and similarly in India, DPDP. It became very imperative for all of us to do so. And that's one of the reasons why marketers started seriously focusing towards engaging and ensuring that there is first-party data that can be intelligently used. Now, it was important for all of us in the digital ecosystem to understand that, and that is why I think one of the key questions that I would like to ask is: was this data really, or the cookie deprecation, leading to first-party data collection, which is called CDP in the environment, in the programmatic ecosystem? Was it really a restriction for advertisers, or was it really, a catalyst to ensure that there is, there is a specific audiences that you can target? So I would actually throw up the question to all the panelists over here. Maybe we can start with you, Anil.
Hi, am I audible? So yeah, it's a good question now. So like in cookies going back, and now it is giving us a different methods of doing the programmatic. So we used to have the probabilistic data before, which is again as a name suggests, it's a probabilistic. Now we are moving towards deterministic. So that gives us exact signal. So we will be able to use the data based on the first party what we collect from the advertiser, CRM data, and also what you are getting in the messages, emails. We will be able to read and identify that, and a cookie is going back, and it is enabling like more of a deterministic data. I feel it's going towards like in a better betterment of the the campaign running, how we do it, and the programmatic.
Yeah, I think from the perspective of first party data or even the regulations that are coming in, it is neither a threat and nor an opportunity. That's how I look at it. It's basically part of any marketing campaign we execute. It was always like that. You were relying on some third party signals, but at the same time, you always focused on first party data per se, correct? Because from BFSR, the life insurance industry perspective, the first party data always plays a very important role from the entire customer lifecycle management perspective. Even the prospect lifecycle management perspective, it plays a very important role. So either we have a support or augmentation because of third party signals and data. The first party will remain the paramount when it comes to any marketing campaign for BFSI. That's how we look at it.
Fantastic. Kewal, your inputs.
So I agree to what Prasad just said, that it's neither a threat nor an opportunity. I would say it's not something, but it is first party data is very important. While the norms are now moving towards, while the DPDP Act is coming into play, and marketers and advertisers are being more conscious of how they would want to gather first-party data and then re-engage with their users. Certain categories definitely are at the forefront, as he rightly said, which is BFSI, CPG brands, and a few platforms who are e-com platforms, right? So yes, I don't think it's a threat. As in, only going to help make conversations more personalized and more sharper, helping drop maybe media wastage.
Fantastic. Srishti, from your side?
Um, yeah, so I think the DPDP Act, for example, is now holding brands responsible, to the same standards as their global counterparts, right? The reality is that now customers are in charge. And as marketers, I think we need to kind of make peace with that, right? Yes, there is a whole change from the cookie world to now the cookieless world. But in that respect, I think brands need to take this as a challenge, right? So if I give an example from the laptop or the PC marketing space, right? There's always been this first party data that we use to sort of cross sell and upsell, say, accessories, right? Take gamers as an example. So say someone's bought a gaming laptop, you always used to use, okay, you know that this person has bought a gaming laptop, so let's upsell and cross sell certain, accessories, gaming accessories to them. But that's precisely what's changing now. Now, as brand marketers, we have that challenge in terms of how do you identify the gamer, right? You want to reach out to more platforms, you want to do more contextual targeting. So essentially, you want to base your marketing campaigns on intent signals rather than the data that you already have. So in that respect, I think the future is going to be a mix of, I believe, first party, third party, and contextual data. And that is, I think, something that brands just need to accept and move on.
Very interesting. Thanks, Srishti.
So I think all this is really stopping marketers, a lot of marketers from doing a lot of things. From the viewpoint of marketers, it's not good. But from the consumer viewpoint, our data are now protected. People are held accountable. People can go to jail if they do things they're not supposed to do on our data, for example. So I think it's good. I'm not too worried about it being blocking the entire industry because our industry is so nimble. There's so many things we can do. We will find a way out eventually. Look at how we have evolved in the last 10 years. Yeah.
Great. I think very, very good inputs from each industry and the agency folks because it's diverse for different businesses. And a very good point by Prasad and Srishti from your business perspective. So moving on, I would like to ask you, Prasad, in terms of the first party data that's creating very precision targeting, especially in a BFSI environment that you work with, how important is it to use that first party data and create those audience cohorts and then retarget them? There is a thin line between using that data and using it effectively for retargeting purposes. So as a marketer, how challenging is it for you?
So I'll talk more from the life insurance perspective. Now, life insurance as a category is not, I would say it's not something which is aspirational in nature, correct? I do not sleep in the night enthusiastic about tomorrow that I'm going to buy a life insurance plan, correct? That is not available as a product. And generally, if you look at as a category, it's a very push-centric category. You need people to come to you again and again, ask you, tell you the risk which you carry in your life, and then you finally decide to purchase a particular product. Now, if I talk about this entire situation in a digital world, from the digital business perspective, there is a very long period which goes between the customer's exploration, first of all, the discovery, then exploration, to final purchase of the product. It's a long gestation product, what I would say, because I do not decide anything on impulse. I am deciding everything with lot of consideration. I am deciding everything because it's a long-term contract. Once I get into a contract, I cannot get out of it easily for next 20 years. Plus, there is a high amount which is involved into it. Correct? With the ticket sizes ranging per year from 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees, the customers take some time. So from that particular perspective, the first party data plays a very important role because we need to follow the entire prospect life cycle for that matter. The day somebody gets touched with our communication, to finally somebody clicking and coming to our website, to finally somebody and drops their contact details with us, either email ID, mobile number, then our entire effort of getting in touch with them via multiple modes of communication, including a telecalling method, that entire path, that entire process becomes very critical and important for me to finally get a conversion. Even from the leads where customer has given his mobile number and email ID, my conversion ratios, immediate conversion ratios are as low as 1.5%. So from that perspective, the first party data becomes very much relevant because I need to continuously retarget to that particular base. That's one part of it. The second part is I also need to know that customer who has said no to me today, because only 1.5% customers are saying yes immediately. So people who have said no to me today are again getting back into that loop of discovery and exploration. Because after some time, somebody else will get in touch with that particular customer, and customer might think about relooking at Kotak Life product or solutions. They might come back to the website. Now, those are the triggers what I have. That the moment they come back to my website, how do I pass on that information and how do I use that information to reconnect with that particular customer who is currently got into a rediscovery mode. So from that particular perspective, it plays a very important role. The second part is what you have seen, that the customers who have already purchased my product. Now I know those cohorts, right? That, and as I mentioned, that it's a small cohort which is like over a, if I talk about good 12 months period, the customers who have interacted with us, you get around 5 to 6% conversion. From that data, you know the cohorts which are actually purchasing you or purchasing your product. Now, if I need to go back to those set of customers and we are available in the market, then those signals play an important role when I'm going to the different platform like Meta platform or Google platform from the lookalike perspective. That's where the entire first party data plays an important role. How do I get to those customers who are similar to the customers who are already with me? I have a lot of restrictions on the eligibility of the customers. I cannot give my product to anybody and everybody. I need to ensure that customer has certain income level. I need to ensure that customer has certain health level. So from all those perspective, that data plays an important role from lookalike perspective as well. So one is targeting, retargeting, and then also a lookalike perspective. Uh, Very important aspect when it comes to life insurance.
Yeah, I think very valid point, and it's interesting how you've explained that there are different platforms that are helping you, reconnect with those consumers who've fallen off, and I think something that Ace also spoke about in his presentation of how Yahoo DSP can also help from that perspective, creating not just audiences that are existing, but even lookalike audiences, predictive audiences. So these are things that multiple platforms are offering and should be helpful in growing your audience base and helping you convert better. From an agency lens, actually, I would like to know, how your first party data of advertisers is something that's critical for the advertiser, but from an agency perspective, since you're dealing with multiple platforms, how are you able to use it and explain to your marketeers that this can be a trusted set of audiences that can be used to, retarget in not just today's environment, but in the future, in the coming programmatic campaigns? The whole ecosystem is moving programmatic because it's far easier to use machine learning and then effectively run your campaigns. So it's not just important to create that first party data, but also doing retargeting through programmatic solutions. So from an agency lens, what do Anil, you think, and how do you convince your marketeers?
Uh, Actually, it doesn't need convincing nowadays. So everyone are like up for it, and they understand the importance of the first party data now. So I'll take an example of one of our super app which we manage. So it's a conglomerate by itself. So it has got lot of data sitting on itself. Like it has got grocery data, it has got pharmacy data, and multiple level of data. So what we did is like we wanted to understand, like we are sitting there, so it's not just like retargeting them blindly, right? So I've got first party data. So that means like let's say like I have got 1 million data. I need to understand what exactly they are, who they are. So we did like a little bit of a deep dive. So we have got our proprietary tool called Densu Marketing Cloud, which helped us in understanding like what other cohorts they have and who he is. So what are we talking about? Who are we talking to? So it gave us a different cut. It gave us like an opportunity for us to exploit for other cross selling of the product. So as Prasad was mentioning about, he doesn't have one product, right? There will be multiple products. So with that help of that data, we were able to target the cross sell the product, and we saw a minimum of like 10 to 15% of upliftment in terms of the sale. So I'm talking about branding campaign uplifting the sales. So that is the power of first party data. So it has become like an integral part. And for one of our airline client, we are actually in the process of doing the same thing. So here, so we have seen that people we have moved from DMP to CDP, and there are a lot of data sitting on this CRM, and it helps us in connecting with the DSP. So I think it's just a way to go. So as I said, it doesn't need convincing. I
Yeah,
think it's a new norm now.
That's a great point, Anil, because I think DMP to CDP is the method that I think most marketeers are going. And I think Kewal, I'm sure you'll have similar inputs.
Yeah, so as you rightly asked, what's the shift that we see in programmatic, right? Programmatic, the shift that we see is that brands are now even, they're wanting to invest in clean rooms as well, right? So brands or categories who deal with a lot of data, they are also discussing as to how they could, clean the data in a very secured environment. They are also discussing consent management, right? Because with the laws coming in, as we spoke about DPDP coming into play, they're also looking at how users are being contacted, right? So those are two, three different pieces, while they're also looking at what consumers are going to lapse or what consumers can be cross-sell, right? So there would always be a consumer whom you will want to retarget. There'll be consumers who would want to, they might have consumed a product and you may want to reach out to them again. So they are looking at segmenting users into different ways, right? What is the behavior that they're looking at? What is it that the consumer is doing? Likewise, the second step is also creating lookalike audiences, right? What are the similar users? What are the other users in the space who have similar traits that my consumer has, right? So that's how they're doing. Uh, we work very closely with Axiom, right? Axiom is our data intelligence and tech platform, right? It has more than 480 million users people ID based users in the system, which is segmented on urban and rural, right? It also has a DCR inbuilt. So we brush those data, we see what segments, what users are doing, and then accordingly, a single ID is created and it can be deployed across any platform, including the walled gardens.
Wow, interesting, very interesting, because I think it pretty much resonates with what Ace you did speak about of Connect ID, which links between a deterministic ID and probabilistic user. Anything that you would like to add? Though we heard you in the previous session, but anything more that you would like to add?
To hear the both of your perspective about how deep adoption of CDP data from the advertisers, and don't quote me. I think you guys are way ahead of some of my Singapore clients that I deal with. So congrats. This is very good stuff. Now, there's in my part, I'm sharing from my part also that so that's how we learn from each other, is that there is still a lot of adoption on our first party data, our Yahoo first party data. So most of our campaigns are adopted through there, but as from 3 years ago, we are starting to see that there's unknown audiences, basically audiences that we couldn't target, and that's where our next gen solution came in to be able to target these audiences. And these are the Firefox browser, these are the Apple ID that the user click no not to track, Safari as well. So these are growing audiences, and through time we have really seen a huge update in terms of our next gen solution to be able to target these people. And one of the things that we do a lot is that also to beyond all this CDP system, there's still a lot of manual upload in Singapore. Manual upload of hash email addresses. But this is the interesting part, because it's hash 256, so it's very secure. There's no way you can read anything out of that. And we still have brands telling me that I can't let the agency upload for you. I need to upload it myself. Can you give me the DSP access? I upload it myself. from that. Is even though it's hash 256, it's very interesting. So what I can see is really, yes, people are doing first party data, but no, they have internal infrastructure, internal say for better word, internal challenges that is holding them back. So this is what we are seeing, and coming back to my first party data, from this itself we realize in Singapore, which is a population of 5 million, we always have scale issue. Everything we have scale issue. We had to Yahoo DSP allow us to use our lookalike audiences, which the two of you has also mentioned, to be able to grow this audience size to find the same people with the same characteristics itself. So that's how we are screening in Singapore. And happy to learn all this from you.
Great. My question also would be, Ace briefly spoke about usage of AI, and it's a favorite topic that everybody's kind of touching upon today. There's limited that brands and agencies and platforms are able to do, but there is effective usage that's coming slowly into play. The question is to the entire panel, actually. I would want to understand first to the brands in terms of how are you using AI to enhance the capabilities of your first party data and grow the entire ecosystem, which can effectively be used on multiple platforms, on multiple solutions, to ensure that there is personalization, to ensure that your first party data is enriched. And then I would like to hear it from the agency lens of what you guys would also think about it. Prasad.
So, as I mentioned that life insurance, we do a significant journey with the customer, correct? We ask a lot of health insurance, health related questions to the customers. A lot of financial information is also part of our purchase process. So, a lot of information is available, but this entire thing is structured data. What we realize that there is a lot of information available as a part of the conversation, which is happening with the customers over a telephonic call. And that is unstructured data. We are not getting any insights out of it. But what we have started doing now, that we have shifted our quality check of all the calls, because anyway that's audit process we had earlier as well. Manually we used to do a sample check of 5 to 10% of the calls and then give feedback to the agents. But then we realized that if I do with the help of AI 100% of the call audits, and while doing that call audits and giving the feedback to the telecalling agent, I have also started receiving a lot of signals which are coming out of those conversations with the customers. Now, those signals we are currently capturing, those are getting captured into our CRM system. And from CRM, we are passing it on to our the advertisement side, that how do I pass on that information so that accordingly I get the input. I'll just give you an example. I mentioned that we have a income restriction. I cannot source somebody who is less than 5 lakh of income for a term insurance policy. Now, when customer starts the journey, they start with a certain number. They give a range, that this is the range of income I have. Whereas when they actually give a document, that income is something else. So at that point of time, we started realizing that the customer's understanding of income is different. The customer's understanding of income was that anything and everything what I earn, even if I'm getting some one-time payment from somebody, they used to consider everything as income, whereas we consider something which is more recurring in nature as income. So we started giving that as an input at a time of form filling. So all those insights have started coming out of the AI, which is more about enriching the data and giving it to the system. That's the one example. The second example is when we ask, as a part of the process, we need to take a recent photograph of the customer. So we started doing a selfie check, that we started asking customers selfie. Now what we realized that at the time of selfie check, when customer is actually taking the selfie, multiple things can be checked. In life insurance, the biggest risk what we carry in a digital business is a fraud, because somebody who is not alive, a dead man, can also purchase an insurance if those checks are not in place. So in the live selfie, we started checking with the liveliness score of the customer. We also starting, though it's not currently clinically approved, we have also started getting some other inputs while doing that liveliness check, is the SpO2 level of the customer. For some of the customers, we also end up getting the blood pressure level. not clinically approved it, but that information is currently getting captured into our system. And those inputs, though we are not utilizing it currently, but once we have all these acts completely full-fledgedly used and a clinical correlation to this data, then I can do that kind of a targeting for cross-selling purpose as well. So that's where the AI is helping us to enrich the data significantly beyond just reaching out to the customer in terms of purchasing a plan.
Yeah, lovely. It's a great example that you've shared of how AI is being used in your part of the business. What about you, Srishti?
So, see, Intel is primarily an ingredient brand, right? So for us, brand visibility is extremely key in a market, as big as India. So what we're realizing now is that there's a significant shift from brand equity to algorithmic visibility, in a sense. So we've been kind of experimenting and noticing that, in the future, it's going to be the AI agents who decide whether your brand ad shows up to the consumer or not. But the point is that AI is learning now from the current consumer patterns. So some of the things that we've been experimenting with, for example, is a lot around the contextual targeting side of things, right? So we've kind of partnered with some of the DSPs to identify how can we, better segment our campaigns, how can we better target our campaigns. Again, from a contextual lens, how do we identify certain signals, right? So say that we're running a brand campaign and we want to target, hypothetically in the education segment, parents to buy a laptop for their kids. So in that space, we're trying to research keywords. So some of the things that A spoke about, right? Keyword research is something that we've tried, for example, to see, okay, what are the keywords that parents particularly look for? What are some of their, inhibitions that they're kind of looking for, again, through different searches? And trying to precisely and contextually change our messaging, change our creatives as well. So there's a lot of personalization that we're trying to bring in. Still in its nascent stage, of course, but we have been working with some of our key agencies to see how we can bring that to life, how we can kind of make it extremely intent based, so that in that moment when the customer is searching for that particular whatever his keyword is, how can we show him that relevant ad? In the B2B space, for example, on the other hand, there's been talk about DSPs throughout today, right? There as well, I think, again, talking about the infrastructure challenge from a brand perspective. So Intel, again, has, made sort of some, I would say, some, legway into partnering with certain CRMs, which are then hashing the data and automatically passing it on to whether it's your social sites or whether it's your third-party DSPs. So we are trying all of those things to see how it can kind of, move forward. But then again, I believe coming back to the consumer space, right? One of the interesting things that I think we can really learn from is the ABM strategy in the B2B space, right? The way there's been contextual targeting, industry-based messaging, I think that's very advanced in the B2B space. And I think the future for a company like Intel, for example, I think the playbook is going to borrow a page from the ABM side of things as well, right? So a lot of experimentation, a lot of, trial and error at this point. But I do believe that, consented first-party data along with all of these precision targeting and contextual targeting is going to lead the way for us as well.
Yeah, makes sense.
I just want to add one more point. I currently do not have a solution for the same. Maybe any of the DSPs can create a solution. What we have started observing is earlier we used to target customers predominantly on demographics, correct? Then we started adding their interest into that targeting, right? That's because that is available with most of the platforms like Google Meta. The interest and affinity is available and you started targeting on the same. But our observation is that every single customer has started consuming the content in their own ways, right? Like when I look at my own, like my demographics would be similar to what other people out here. But when it comes to the content, I like a content which is more data driven. So something which is more number based, fact based. So that's the kind of communication that I end up liking it. Whereas there will be some set of customers who are liking that communication is more emotions based. Correct? That's the kind of archetype that customer is having, and that information is currently not available with any of the platforms. What we have done, that we have done a survey with our existing customers just to understand what kind of archetypes there predominantly are, and when we send a push communication to them via emailer or WhatsApp or SMS, we try to create that kind of differentiation that the content is more tuned to what they normally consume because they have given that information to me, and the type of communication they prefer is a video or text based kind of a thing. But when it comes to any of the programmatic platforms or any of the DSPs, those inputs are not yet available. So maybe from the AI perspective, if that starts getting built as a part of the solution, then my targeting will become far more far more personalized and more contextual rather than what I'm currently doing. That's what we want to do. We are capturing the data as much as possible for the customers, but currently we do not know how to make good use of that.
Yeah. I think personalization is the key. Ace, would you have any inputs on that before we go on to the other folks?
Yes, there's something that we were recently be working on. That's called, it may not be a new concept, but that's called customer value optimization, and it works within our Yahoo Blueprint AI system as well. What it effectively done is, for example, for our airline, from the CRM data that will be feed into our DSP, we will identify who are the one that has, number one, bought the most air ticket, number two, bought the most expensive air ticket, and number three, who are the ones that book regularly, so that it will be very segmentized, and from the system will be able to auto-optimize and serve them customized ads from there. So that is what we have been working on. It's been a lot of success in the US. Unfortunately, we haven't found a lot of partners to be able to test this around the region, but it'll be interesting to be able to see how we can actually work that out for you guys. Yeah. The other one will be, but more on the AI piece, is more on the multi-goal, which is basically something about having the brands to be able to achieve multiple KPIs. For example, cost efficient lens on top of a cost efficient CPC, for example. Yeah, something along that line.
Yeah, I think multiple KPIs is something that every brand, any which ways, is chasing. But how do you make it more efficient in the entire space of AI or usage of AI and programmatically? That's the key thing. So I think from an agency perspective, what do you guys think, Anil? Because you have multiple brands, multiple platforms that you're dealing with, and advertiser data is there. They're trying to make it bigger with the help of AI, but it's important how you can channelize it to the right programmatic platforms.
Yeah. So yeah, forget about like and going to the advertiser. So we have been using in our day-to-day life, right? Like even to do the PPT, we are using AI. AI is there everywhere. So now here I'll take an example, a couple of examples. One is on the B2B side, and another one is on the B2C side. For the B2B side, so Srishti has already explained like how we are doing it at the media. So also we are using AI to like understand what we are getting, what the leads we are getting is valid or not. So we have got a system. So the leads which has been captured, so it is held by like a third party system. It's called as a Lola Grow. So what they do, so they will analyze it with they run the algorithm using the AI. It will actually match it up with the LinkedIn profile. It actually understands like if that person is currently employed there. So if he is coming from the particular set of accounts which we have been targeting. So if his designation meets our criteria, after that only like it will be passed back to the Intel database. That's one only we will be able to like yeah. So I think you are also part of it anyway. We are running like quite a bit of campaigns for that. I'm sure you would have gone through a lot of rejection in that one, and we have gone along ahead on that one. And coming to the B2C, I've spoken about DMC, like leveraging the first-party data, right? So first-party data, it's a very important for us to understand, like to see that how we can enrich it. So just to give an example, like for your question problem what we are facing. So I was talking to Cred. So they said like they came back and said that like we are able to target the audience, parents, and we will be able to give you the exact details of like how many parents are there. I was shocked. How will you be able? Cred will be able to give that. So you have got an app. Kotak has an app. So they also have an app. So with that, like they had like there's an option for them to like upload the. I'm just taking one example. They have an option for them to upload the contacts. So once you upload the contacts, so we will be they were able to identify. So if the user has saved a name with a particular school name, a tutor. So and also the people who have made paid the school fees via Cred. multiple data, and also the with the for the Android, so they were able to read the messages what they're coming in. So with all this data, they were able to build an algorithm to identify so who they are. So if that person is a parent, like if it's a student. So I'm sure by using leveraging the right solution, you will be able to get to there. I think yep,
Yeah.
the possibilities
Yeah,
endless when
the
it comes to it.
possibilities are there. It's just about kind of putting it into perspective. Kewal, anything, any inputs from your side?
So most of it is covered by the folks on the panel, but yeah, two ways I would want to put that is it's AIML is largely used from a programmatic perspective. It's largely used either for creative personalization, wherein you cohort, you segment your users, see what space they are in, and then contextualize your message so you know what message you're giving out to them, and obviously optimize where your ads are going and to whom it's going. So in two ways, it's one is for creative optimization, messaging optimization, and media optimization.
Wonderful. I think great points by all of you because it's while all of us are talking about AI in very interesting and different manners based on the business, but how it can grow eventually to make our campaigns more programmatic, solution based, because the industry is moving programmatic, not just worldwide, but also in India. We see that the businesses are getting programmatic because it makes it more easy and seamless for campaigns to run programmatically. And usage of first-party data, layering with AI, is the right way of kind of making it more personalized, like you rightly mentioned, in creative format, and at the same time contextually relevant. Like in your case, you were mentioning about how it can be contextually relevant to a particular user. So yeah, great inputs. Thank you very much for sharing all your thoughts and your experiences. Thank you very much for the panel.